Hello. We are going to try and do a recap of my July currently inked and a new currently inked. The new currently inked I'm going to do in this notebook I made myself ages ago. This little stamp right here means it's sans and paper. And if it doesn't have a stamp, it means it's just old school Tomoe River. So I kind of want to maybe do this page and swatch on this side, swatch on that side, and this might help me make a decision about if I'm ready to move my currently inked into a sans and notebook next year, because I probably will have to do it at some stage. So in July, I had the TWSBI Vac Mini with Diamond Earl Grey. That's still going. It's a TWSBI. It's going to go forever. It's kind of one of my always currently inked. I tried the Bone Crusher Prime Galaxy or Galaxy Prime. I'm still not sure which way it goes. I had a medium nib in there, my Franklin Christoph medium nib, and that was just too thick, just too much. Let me show you. I think I marked out pages. Look at me, I'm sort of ready. Never. Okay. So the writing was just kind of taking up the whole page and you just weren't kind of noticing the decor as much. So I later switched it out for a fine nib, and that was better, but it was still too bright. Like I was unhappy. It was taking over my journal pages. So I used it for the rest of the month, wrote it dry with letters. So that's what I'm going to do with my bright colors. I'm not going to throw them all away. I'm just going to write letters with bright colors. So that was the Bone Crusher. Then I had the Sailor Shikiori Sound of Rain. Where's that? With a medium fine nib. So this is the Spring Rain one. And I had Sailor Ink Studio 162, which just kept drying up on the nib. So I later switched it out for Celadon Cat, and I made a video about this somewhere. Where is it? Which was so light, you couldn't see it. So then I mixed Celadon Cat with Aurora Borealis, because I felt like Aurora Borealis was kind of too bright. Like it was just kind of not a color I wanted to do. So I mixed it, and then I was finally happy. See? Happy now. So I've got a mix of Celadon Cat and Aurora Borealis in this pin still. So you'll see that in a minute. My Moonman Wonkai Clear. This one's pretty dry. You can still see a little bit of ink bubbling, but it's not coming through the nib. So I'm going to clean that out. It is in the to be cleaned pile. The Pilot E95S is still going. This pin, because it's got a fine nib, it's just going to go forever. I've had this going for months. So maybe it should just count as my currently always inked. I'm determined to write it dry. I am not going to, give up. I will win. The Pelican M200 Golden Barrel. This was pretty, but I'd like to try, so it's got a medium nib in it, and I'd like to try a fine nib because Pelicans are pretty much gushers. And I really like this pin with the Brandy Snap, so Diamond Brandy Snap. So I'm kind of saving up for a fine nib. Travelers Company Brass. Which one is this one? Nope. Still going strong with the Laban Aphrodite. It's got a broad architect nib ground by Jose at the London Pin Show. And yeah, that one's still going strong. I'm going to write it dry. Unbelievably, I have written the Opus 88 Fantasia Red with Diamond Deep Dark Red dry. This whole kind of pin had been filled with ink, and it's this whole barrel, it's eyedropper, it's now dry. It's unbelievable. And I'm doing my best to resist just filling it up again. I need to kind of try out my other pins. But I do love that combination. And that's a medium nib. Diatramentis elderberries Twisby Eco Purple Glow in a medium nib. That was just, it was just too wet. The line was too thick. I didn't like it. It also took over the page. You see what I mean? It was just too bold. I didn't even try and write that dry because it's a Twisby, and I just kind of stuck it back in the sample bottle to be continued later in a finer nib, maybe a dry nib. Sailor Pro Gear Slim, Sound of Rain, Drizzle. I love the look of this pin. This one has Sailor Shikiori Hara Hara, and it still does. Actually, no, I refilled it. So it had like dregs of a cartridge from when it first came in, and I swapped out that cartridge from the other Sound of Rain to put it in here because I thought it went better with this one. See, it goes really well. And then it just had a little bit in there. So I got the bottle, and then I filled it up with the bottle. And I'm going to write that dry at some point. And then Benu Ambrosia, Brown Orchid, where are you? With Diamond Grape, there's still some left. Not that much. Because I'm using the little Kaweco cartridge. I find that if I'm just trying to use a little bit of ink, these are kind of perfect for that, especially in the smaller pens, like my Franklin Christoph and this one, where I can't put a full converter. But that still has ink in it, and that's going to move forward. Phil Cow Mini. I don't even know where I put that thing. I was going to show it to you, but I think I put it. That's going to be sold. It doesn't really work with my hands. It's too tiny. It had Vinta Tabouan Purple Sea Star, which was kind of too bright. Finished that off with letters. Let me see if I can find a page. Where's a page? I think it was the first one. I don't know. It wasn't that bad. I think in a fine nib, this ink would have been fine in here. But yeah, it was a little bit, but it got darker. So it was weird. It was like, this was what it wrote like when I first wrote with it, and then it got darker. And then it was dry just immediately after that. Franklin Christoph model 20p Salmon Glow, medium sig nib. I've loaned that to a friend, so I don't have that to show you, but I wrote it dry, loaned it to a friend. This is the Bone Crusher when I changed to the Opus 88 fine nib. That was much, much better. And that's it. That's kind of what's happened with my July currently inked. I wrote pens dry. I'm really proud of myself. And since I'm going to do currently inked in my other thing, I'll come back later and do it in here. Just for consistency's sake. And as you can tell, I just have not been journaling. This is usually where I track with what pen I write with in my journal. So after this, that's what I'm doing for the rest of the day, is backtracking in my journal. I kept notes on I did voice recording to keep a note of what I had done. So, from when I couldn't look down. So I just need to fill them in. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to use this so we can do a swatch on either side of the ink. I'm going to pause because I just realized I forgot to grab the ink bottles. Okay. All right, I am back. This is probably the most preparation I've done for any video because I'm a professional. I put all my pins in order in this. So look at that. Look at that pro move. And all my inks are out. I have clean water everywhere. And I even put these down so I can kind of keep an idea of, where to do this. Let me just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, so I gave myself kind of two quite large 10 millimeter line spaces. This is the Galen leather thing that they give you with tomorrow paper to smooch with this. And I decided not to because I have 11 pens inked, really. But this is the TWSBI VAC mini that always has Earl Grey, and I only have space for 10, so we're not going to do that one today. Before we get started, I had in my currently inked my Bennu Talisman Venus's Hair, and I had put Waringal Don Quixote in it, and that ink was driving me around the bend. Like, literally, I just cleaned it out because I rage cleaned that pen. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so this is how it would write after I kind of primed it, and after I primed it, or when I first inked it up. And this is how I would write, if it wrote at all, every time I opened the pen. For some unknown reason, every time I opened the pen, out of the lid came like condensation water. It would just drip right out of the lid. It wasn't ink. There wasn't any ink on the nib. And it was happening in here too. Like water. And then the ink was just disappearing. I don't know what was happening. I've had 2 different inks in this, Pen BBS and like a diamine, and I didn't have any problems. This is the Bennu nib, the one that comes with the pen. I don't know what was going on with that ink. It was just, there was condensation, and the ink disappeared. It was the weirdest thing. And it hasn't been dry here. Like, you probably hear the fan, which I was just about to apologize for, so apologies, but it's muggy, like crazy muggy right by this window. We've got these super dark clouds out there, so it should rain, but it's taken its sweet time to do so. But yeah, Waringal Don Quixote. I have not been able to get this ink to work for me at all, ever. Like, the first pen I put it in was my Sailor, and it was writing kind of that light. It was my Sailor Pro Gear Slim Mini, the taupe one, and it was writing that light, and I was like, nope, that's not going to work. And then, yeah, I don't know what's wrong with this. I don't know what's going on with this ink. If anybody has any ideas of what the problem is, let me know, because it's just super weird. So, yeah, that pen is not inked up. It was rage cleaned. Let's get started. All right, again, this is the OG Tomoe River paper. This is Sanzen. Just the way that, you know, I laid it out. We have Diamine Safari, and this is my color of the year in my 5-year. Why did I put that there? Now I'm going to have a problem writing. I was meant to put it over here. Anyways. Swish. 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 I really like this color. This is in my Jinhao 82. That I have a Jinhao 82 problem, and I will be doing a video about my Jinhao 82 problem. But this has an extra fine nib, and I had been using in the 5-year an Opus 88 with an extra fine nib, and that was driving me crazy. It was just really dry. And so I moved into this. I really like Jinhao extra fine nibs. I have no idea why. But they just work for me. I'll just say green navy, because I just keep mixing these. And that is EF. I guess I don't really need to write it over there, but why don't I do it just in case, just to keep the comparison going. And then I will do these lines, which I now know are to show downstrokes and upstrokes and side strokes consistent throughout. This is fast writing. I hadn't been doing those because they look funny when I do them, but Jinhao 82, green, navy, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. like everybody else is, and my name begins with an S. You think I'd be okay with that, but no. Nope, nope, nope. All right, so the next one is my mix that I did with Aurora Borealis and Celadon Cat. Pretty much straight half and half. And I think this color goes really well in this pen, and it's now that I put something else with the Celadon Cat, which was really dry for me. But I've heard other people's aren't really dry. So my friend Key is gonna give me a sample of hers when I see her next, to see whether hers, it's just something wrong with mine. So this is the Sailor Shikiori Pro Gear Slim Sound of Rain, which is just going to say SOR Spring Rain. And this is a medium fine 21K nib, but I ran out of space, so we're not going to say 21K. And we've got, I really like Sailors. I like their medium fine nibs. I'm not keeping to the lines. Whoops. I mean, it's, when you don't have an insanely dry ink in Sailors, they write just fine. Pro Gear Slim Spring Rain. It doesn't, I mean, I'm not feeling a difference between the papers. Oh, I lie. Now that I did that. A little bit toothier, I think. Maybe I'm imagining it. All right. This pen. Let's see how much ink I've got left. Because, like, I literally, I've still got this much left. I can tell you one thing. Ink does not evaporate in these Pilot E95S pens. Oh, not supposed to be doing that part yet. It's supposed to be doing the ink. Chocolate Brown by Diamine. I didn't even write what the ink was. Seriously. Okay, wait. Let me just do this. Ugh. All right. And I thought I was prepared. Diamine Safari. No, I guess I'm glad I'm not keeping to the lines. Diamine Safari, and then this is Diamine. B. Celadon Cat Mix. I'm not writing it over there right now. We'll do that later. I'll make it up later. Okay, so now ink splooge. This is one of my favorite browns, obviously, because I just keep it inked up, don't I? It just, you know, it's what it says on the tin. No, don't drip places. It's chocolate brown. All right, well, this is going how it usually goes. You guys should be used to it by now. When I edit this back, I laugh like my mother. I didn't even realize how much. Like, oh well. Diamine chocolate brown. Look at me, I'm writing from underneath. My writing usually looks a little bit better than this because I don't write underneath. But I'm practicing. Okay, this is the Pilot E95S black. I write black like I'm gonna get another one. And this is the Fine. I like Pilot Fine nibs. And then we've got scratch, 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 side, side, side. No. Going great. All right. Next we have grape. It's going grape. Sorry, could not resist. This is a really good purple. I like it. And believe me, I have a lot of purples. I have a lot of purples inked up. You'll see. All right, what am I doing? I'm writing with this. This one, yeah, it's almost empty. I will be sad. I might ink it up again. Who knows? Maybe it was something else because I've already got, like I said, purples. Diamond grape, Bainu, ambrosia, brown, orchid. I can't spell orchid. Fine. And down, up. See, look, they're just not. It doesn't look as neat as when you guys do it. None of this does. This is why I usually skip it, because it's just not my strong suit, especially with my new writing style. Everything seems drier on the upstroke, and I think that's me. So I don't even know why I'm doing this. It's not telling you anything accurate. It's just telling you about me. Next we have Sailor Shikiori Hara Hara. Scooch. I feel like too much came out of there. Might pick some of that up. Yeah, I don't know what took me so long to get a bottle of this. I just kept buying samples multiple times. Then I bought the cartridges. And then finally I just went, you know what? Okay. Sailor Shikiori Hara Hara. And this is Sailor Shikiori PGS Sound of Rain Drizzle. This is also a medium fine 21K, and I also don't have room to write that. So down, Yeah, see, look, it's so dry. And look how wonky these are. You will not be seeing me do this again. I don't like it. Shikiori. Hara. I'm hoping my head's not in. I think it is. Shikiori. PGS. SOR. Drizzle. No room for medium fine, but we can see it on the other side. I'm just going to keep doing it today for consistency's sake, but then I will not be doing it anymore. It looks icky. All right, so those are those. Next we have Platinum Lavender Black, which is my new sample. Really? I just spilled water. Okay. If you have these, sometimes the little tines get crossed and it'll make a like snapping sound, or it kind of won't release ink while they're crossed as well. So you just kind of press down on something. So look how bright this started, because it's going to darken. It's cool. I think I should put a little bit more over there. Tap, tap, tap. All right. And we won't splash anymore. All right. That is in my new Moon Man Wankai, the pink one. Oh, God, the drama again. Really? Okay, we've got Platinum, Lavender, Black. I'm trying to go to the side again. This is a Moon Man Wankai. This is a fine nib. Pink, because I have others. Fine. I really don't want to do this. If I do it slowly, it looks better, but it's still wonky. Okay. So as you can tell, I am struggling still with writing underneath. It's like going at a diagonal, but I'm determined. I'm working on it. It's getting better. I will win. But yeah, you can tell by these lines that I'm trying to do that, you know, there's still some work to be done. All right. Next we have the Travelers Company Brass with factory green with a, this now has a fine replacement Schmidt nib in it. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do the ink. Because I think I did something to the tines of the Travelers Company fine nib. It was writing really scratchy and I can't see well enough to fix it. So I put deep magenta in, and this is my bright color for the month because I can only handle one. So if you get a letter from me, it'll probably be with this. I haven't tried it in the journal yet because I just did it. So I don't know whether it's going to take over the whole world. And it doesn't go with the pin at all. Well, it's kind of pretty together. Maybe opposite the color wheel or something like that. I just liked the color a lot. And I thought it would take the place of the Diatramentis elderberries that was just insanely wet. Just insanely wet. Travelers Company FG Brass. Fine. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, wonky, wonky, wonky. How do you guys do these so consistently? Okay. This is still really wet. I mean, these Schmidt nibs are so wet. But at least it's smooth, so. Maybe I'll get myself a Schmidt Extra Fine. Try that. Factory green, brass, fine. See what that's like. That's one of the things I like doing at pen shows is buying extra nibs. There's always somebody with these little tubs of nibs, Joe and Schmidt and whatever. And I just pick up a couple, because why not? All right, next, where'd it go? Okay, next we have, this is the Kasumosu Inaho mix I made for this pin, which should have been in my Never Been Inked video. This is a platinum pocket pen from the 70s. It was supposed to be new old stock, yet it had a ton of black ink in it. They took forever to get out, forever. And it's an extra fine platinum, so I got it really cheap because I guess nobody was buying it. Or it wasn't really new old stock. I still got it really cheap for it being new old stock. I'm not gonna have enough room. Damn it. Okay, we're gonna figure this out. I just have 2 more, right? All right, so platinum. I wanted to put Pilot Iroshizuku in here because this is an extra fine. I wanted to make sure that it kind of worked, but I didn't want anything too bright or too dark. Platinum. Pocket pen. I'm doing this backwards. And then this is Pilot Iroshizuku Kasumosu Inaho. And just do it wrong on this side too. I didn't put very much ink in this. I just kind of wanted to try this pen. So I'll probably write this dry pretty darn quickly. Though it is an extra fine, so maybe not. Kasumosu Inaho. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Alright, how am I gonna do this? I've got 2 more and just this much space. So we're just gonna do small ones. So that, I mean, it's not that far off from this ink, I'm thinking. Tiny. Oh, yeah, I guess it is. Oh, I went way too far in there. Okay, that's Laban Aphrodite. And that is still in my Travelers Company brass. And this was a Schmidt replacement nib. So I'm just going to write Le Bon. I'm not going to do the thing. Le Bon Aphrodite. Travels Company brass, and this is a Bold Architect Drama again. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Basically, I have a neighbor who's, I think she's got some dementia, and she should have a walker, and she keeps leaving her house without a walker and bothering the same neighbor, coming to the same neighbor's house over and over all day long. The whole thing's sad, but she gets really, really upset if you kind of try and help her or tell her to get her walker, or she just starts screaming. So the whole thing's sad. All around. Okay, and now I got my hands on Earl Grey tea by Dominant Industry. And I've got to try and squeeze it in here. Yeah, I almost inked up maple because I also bought maple, and that's really pretty. But I wanted this really bad, and I want to try it. I might put maple in this pen. We shall see when one of these goes dry. But I put Earl Grey tea in this. It goes perfectly, right? And I post my Euphoria. Okay, so this is Dominant Industry. I don't think I'm in frame. Wonder how long I've been out of frame. Industry. Earl Grey tea. Banu Euphoria. Love Story. And this is, I replaced the nib with a fine Schmidt nib from, you know, that nib collecting when I go to pin shows. Dominant Industry. Earl Grey tea. Banu Euphoria. Love Story. Fine. Okay. So it looks like I've got some... The first thing I notice, and I'm going to come back when it's dry, is that, I don't know, I think things are drying faster on the new paper. But yeah, I will come back when it's all dry and hold it up to the camera and we can see, you know, how different everything looks. Or if it looks different at all. Hello, I'm back. I'm going to stand up so I can show you the ink. So, I mean, my takeaway, some things shade pretty much just the same between Sanson and the OG Tomoe River. I think, like, if you look at this Diamine Chocolate, can you see the sheen? I can't tell if you can see the sheen. Yes, there's the sheen. It's kind of not there on the Sansin. I mean, I don't know whether that's just because I put more ink on one than the other. And it's kind of too soon to tell, but I think I'm just going to kind of keep doing this to a certain extent. I mean, the ink looks, the writing looks the same. So I think as far as like journaling, you know, I'll be just as happy to journal on Sansin as I am on the original Tomoe River, because, you know, it doesn't look any different. But like, look at that Kosumosu Inaho mix there, and then here. You know, it just looks like there's more shading kind of going on in the pooling ink on the OG than there is on the Sansin. But honestly, other than doing currently inked, when do I pool ink? Kind of, or testing new ink. And I've got enough old Tomoe River paper to play with that I can test ink out on that. But, I mean, if that's not what's available anymore, what's the point, kind of, in a way, of that? I don't know, deep thoughts. But these are my currently inked for August. Kind of random. Some I will, like the Diamond Grape, that's going to run out. I think this one, the Pocket Pin, the Traveler's Company, the one with Aphrodite, that's got to run out at some point. And maybe the Pilot E95S, if that's all I write with, that'll run out. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, my colors are pretty autumn, as usual. And this was kind of a interesting, fun experiment. Like I said, I won't be doing these anymore because my writing's too wonky at the moment for various reasons. Look at that. It shows you nothing. So just pay attention to those things with other people's videos. This is the bleed through with the Sansin. And this is the bleed through with the Tomoe River paper. So kind of, that one bled through, what's that, the Hara Hara? That one I had a ton of ink on, so no fair. Oh, also, I think that the Sansin dried quicker than the old school. Again, that could have been inconsistent ink pooling, but it really felt like everything dried on this a lot faster. Which would be good, you know, when you're journaling. So yeah, I think it did bleed through a bit more. Yeah, definitely. So there's that. But none of the writing except for, oh, wait. What's that one with? Diamond Grape. Yeah, the writing bled through. What? Okay, that could be a problem. Didn't bleed through on the OG. More testing will need to be done, because that would be unacceptable. Yeah, let me know if you guys have tried the Sansin, what you found. And that's it. Thanks. Bye.